Hash the unexpected table. The autumn rain had finally stopped, leaving the streets of downtown glistening under the early evening lights. Sarah Mitchell stood outside Romano's restaurant, her heart beating faster than she wanted to admit. She smoothed down her simple cream dress and took a deep breath. "Mom, let's go." 5-year-old Emma tugged at her hand with surprising strength for such a small person. Her pink dress swirled as she bounced on her toes, blonde pigtails dancing with excitement. "Sweetheart, maybe we should just go home," Sarah said softly, glancing at the elegant restaurant entrance. This was probably a mistake. "No mistake, Mommy. Grandma said you need to meet new people. I want you to be happy." Sarah's chest tightened. Her daughter's innocent words carried a weight that made her eyes sting with unshed tears. It had been 2 years since the divorce, 2 years of rebuilding their life together, just the two of them. Her mother had arranged this blind date, insisting that Sarah needed to try again, to open her heart to possibility. But standing here now, Sarah felt nothing but doubt. Emma pulled harder, and before Sarah could protest further, they were walking through the heavy wooden doors into the warm, amber-lit restaurant. The hostess greeted them with a professional smile. Sarah gave her name, her voice barely above a whisper, and they were led through the dining room. The restaurant was beautiful, with dark wood paneling, soft classical music, and the gentle murmur of conversation filling the air. As they wound between tables, Sarah noticed the other diners. Couples leaning close, sharing quiet laughter. Families celebrating together. Everyone seemed to belong here except her. Then Emma stopped so suddenly that Sarah nearly stumbled. "Mommy, look." Following her daughter's pointing finger, Sarah saw a table near the window where a man sat alone. He was looking down at his phone, his dark suit jacket draped over the chair beside him. Even from this distance, Sarah could see the tension in his shoulders, the way he kept checking his watch. But that wasn't what had caught Emma's attention. Standing beside the table, gripping the man's hand with fierce determination, was a little boy about Emma's age. He wore a tiny suit jacket and bow tie, and he was clearly trying to pull his father somewhere, anywhere, away from that table. "Mom, they're just like us," Emma whispered, her eyes wide. The hostess had stopped at a different table, several feet away, and was gesturing for Sarah to sit. But Emma had other ideas. Before Sarah could react, her daughter marched straight toward the man and the little boy. "Hi, I'm Emma. Are you on a blind date too?" Sarah's face flushed hot with embarrassment. She rushed over, ready to apologize, to grab Emma and flee. But when she reached the table, the man looked up, and their eyes met. He had kind eyes, she noticed. Tired, yes, and guarded, but kind. "I'm so sorry," Sarah began, but the little boy interrupted. "Yes, and I don't want Daddy to go. The lady sounds mean on the phone." The man stood quickly, running a hand through his dark hair. "Marcus, we talked about this." Then to Sarah, "I apologize for my son. We're navigating some new territory here." "We're navigating too," Emma announced proudly. "My mommy hasn't been on a date in forever, and Grandma made her come tonight, but I can tell she wants to run away." "Emma," Sarah gasped, mortified. But something unexpected happened. The man laughed. It was a genuine sound, breaking through the awkwardness like sunlight through clouds. "My mother set this up too," he admitted, a wry smile crossing his face. "Robert Chen." He extended his hand. "Sarah Mitchell." She shook his hand, noticing the warmth of his grip, the way his smile reached his eyes. "Your table is ready, ma'am," the hostess called from behind them, confusion evident in her voice. Marcus and Emma looked at each other, then at their parents, then back at each other. Some unspoken communication passed between the two children. "Can they sit with us?" Marcus asked his father. "Please, Mommy." Emma's eyes were bright with hope. Sarah and Robert stood frozen, caught between the expectations of separate blind dates and the pleading faces of their children. The moment stretched out, filled with possibility and uncertainty. "My date isn't here yet," Robert said slowly. "I don't think she's coming, actually. She's 20 minutes late." "Mine too," Sarah admitted. "Though honestly, I was hoping he wouldn't show." Another beat of silence. Then Robert gestured to the empty chairs at his table. "Would you like to join us? No pressure. Just dinner." With two very determined children who apparently have plans of their own. Sarah looked at Emma's hopeful face, then at Marcus's bright eyes, then back at Robert's gentle expression. Something in her chest loosened, just a little. This wasn't what she'd expected. This wasn't the carefully arranged meeting her mother had orchestrated. But maybe that was exactly why it felt right. "Okay," she heard herself say. Just dinner. Emma squealed with delight and immediately climbed into the chair next to Marcus. The two children began chattering like old friends, comparing notes on their respective schools and favorite colors. Sarah sat down across from Robert, and he settled back into his seat. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The restaurant continued its gentle hum around them, but at this table, something new was beginning. So, Robert said finally, his eyes twinkling with humor. I'm a single dad, software company CEO, completely out of my depth with 5-year-olds and blind dates. Your turn. Sarah found herself smiling, really smiling, for the first time all evening. Single mom, graphic designer, also completely out of my depth, but apparently my daughter is better at this than I am. Marcus is usually shy, Robert said, watching his son laugh at something Emma said. I haven't seen him this comfortable with someone new in years. Emma's been asking me when I'm going to find her a friend who understands, Sarah said softly. I think she meant a friend whose family looks like ours. Their eyes met again, and this time, something unspoken passed between them. Understanding, recognition, not romance, not yet, but something equally valuable, the sense that they were not alone in their struggles. The waiter arrived, and they ordered dinner for 4. As the meal progressed, the conversation flowed naturally. They talked about their work, their challenges as single parents, the small victories and daily struggles. The children colored on the paper tablecloth and built towers from sugar packets. By the time dessert arrived, chocolate cake that Marcus and Emma insisted on sharing, Sarah realized something had shifted inside her. She'd walked into this restaurant afraid of opening herself to hurt again. But sitting here, watching her daughter laugh, feeling the ease of talking with someone who truly understood her life, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope, not for romance, necessarily. Not for any particular future. Just hope that maybe, just maybe, there were still good people in the world. People worth knowing, connections worth making. Mom, Emma whispered, leaning against her shoulder as they finally prepared to leave, can Marcus be my friend? Sarah looked at Robert, who was helping Marcus into his jacket. Their eyes met once more. I think, Sarah said gently, that's up to Marcus. And his dad. We'd like that, Robert said, his smile warm and genuine. Very much. As they walked out into the cool evening air, Sarah felt Emma's small hand in hers, and somehow, the world seemed a little brighter than when they'd walked in.